All right, troubleshoot purge unit by temperatures and approaches, same as chiller itself. No, not really. The first thing I'll do is I'll perform a leak search. Let's see if I can even find anything. If it's got enough refrigerant in it to ice up at all, which most of the time or a lot of times they will, especially if they're having trouble. So if it's able to ice up at all, it probably has enough refrigerant in it to do a leak search. So I will start with doing a leak search with the refrigerant that's there. If that doesn't show anything, then the next thing I'll do is I'll just leave that refrigerant there. I'll add some nitrogen and go ahead and get that pressure up a little more. Be careful of the pressure ratings, okay? But then I'll do a higher pressure leak search to see if anything comes up that way. If I cannot find a leak, next thing I'll do is then I'll evacuate all that, pull it down, charge the recommended weight. Now, usually what I do is I'll go just maybe an ounce or so extra for me disconnecting. Okay, because I'd much rather have just a little bit too much than not quite enough charge in that system. And if the purge is still not functioning, where it's the evaporator is not pulling down, I know I've got non-condensables. I know I've got issues. I'm surging like crazy. I'm running high condenser approaches and pressures. So I know all that's happening, but the purge just ain't jiving. And I've got a fresh charge in there and it's still having trouble. Then I can I'll start looking into other factors such as what is my liquid line temp, what is my discharge temp, what are my suction temps doing, what is the temperature coming through the metering device, is the metering device metering. I should be able to isolate the refrigerant from the tubes from the condenser, from the chiller's condenser, not the purge unit, and see that suction temperature drop because I'm going to have very little load in that purge after a few minutes. So like there's some of those things I can do to try to troubleshoot the purge unit itself to see if it's a metering device or otherwise. Sometimes, or a very common one is the solenoid valves are very common to fail for the pump out side of it. And so those will start leaking atmosphere into them, reverse flow, even though they're disengaged and closed, right? So that's just another point of it may not even be the refrigerant circuit itself. You may be drawing it through the actual solenoid valves that are meant to do the pump out phase of things. So that is my process. In my opinion, you don't troubleshoot those the same way you would a regular little refrigeration unit or system. Granted, if you're used to working with small appliances, like that's something I did at one point in time, early on. Like you didn't hook up to those either. You took your temperatures, you looked at a lot of different variables without actually tampering with the refrigerant circuit itself. And that was always the worst case last thing you did scenario. But the approach values and stuff just don't quite line up the same for those. If you're not already in Chiller Academy, I'd really encourage you to go check it out. Just think about it, right? This is what I do full time. I've committed. I've stepped out of the field, committed my career to this going forward. This is what I've always wanted to do, and to be able to educate, help others, and grow, and help this industry take steps forward. So chilleracademy.com. Like I'd love to be able to work with you over there. We've got a community page. All the lessons have a comment section. That's what I spend a lot of my day doing. If I'm not working on the lesson material itself, then I am in the comments and I'm trying to respond to those as fast as I can, in addition to helping you through email and otherwise. So love to be able to work with you. For all of those that are in the academy, y'all are doing some great work out there. Keep it up. I really appreciate the support and the feedback that you've given.